Are you someone that starts to get nervous when things get wet? Will you learn more about riding a motorcycle in 3 months of rain than you would in the rest of the year? Here's 7 tips to get you started and keep you safe. The tires are the part of your motorcycle that are supposed to make contact with the ground, but they are often overlooked. Today we'll start off by talking about the tread pattern and the tire pressure. The tire tread pattern on road tires like these Remora tires on the RTR 160 are designed to dissipate water and increase the amount of contact between the tire and the road. As the tires wear out, the depth of these grooves and the tire's ability to dissipate water decreases. This means that it's time to change your tires, as it could lead to hydroplaning. What's hydroplaning, you ask? Well, it's simple. The good part is that it allows your motorcycle to ride on water. The bad part is that you lose traction and braking abilities. All motorcycles come with a tire wear indicator. The initials TWI can be found on the tire sidewalls, and the indicator can be found along the surface of the tire. Now that we understand when we need to be changing our tires, let's talk about tire pressure. While we've always been advised to reduce the tire pressure in the monsoons to increase the contact patch, I watched a recent video between Dave Moss Tuning and Sagar Sheldekar, where Dave spoke about how maintaining or even increasing the tire pressure during the monsoons would be beneficial. We spoke earlier about hydroplaning and how the grooves in your tire make sure that water is moved away from the contact patch, thus giving you more grip. If the tire pressure is lowered, it could cause these grooves in the tire to close up and could increase the chances of hydroplaning. With the correct tire pressure maintained, the grooves in the tire are able to stay open and dissipate water, so while your contact patch would be theoretically lesser, you would still get more grip because now your tires are in contact with the road and not in contact with water. Now that we understand tread patterns and tire pressure, let's focus our attention on the suspension. Now this point might be applicable to some motorcycles more than others, but nevertheless you need to know this. If you spend that extra money and bought yourself a motorcycle that has either manual or electronically adjustable suspension, now's the time to get familiar with it. Adjust the front and the rear suspension by speeding up the rebound damping. What this does is it allows your motorcycle to react quicker to bumps, and it also forces the tire into the ground, giving it more mechanical grip. If you've got a motorcycle which only has preload adjustable rear suspension and you haven't made any tweaks since you bought it from the showroom, now's a good time to understand how your weight can affect that rear suspension and make adjustments to the preload accordingly. Instead of buying an aftermarket exhaust to sound like you're going fast and annoy the rest of us, get your suspension tuned correctly and use the exhaust money to invest in a riding school and actually get faster. Now that we've set up our motorcycles for the rain, it's time to focus on us and introspect. The riders. Here's an interesting story. When I attended California Superbike School and the Apex Racing Academy, the first session of each of those racing schools involved us just using our throttle control to get around the racetrack. No brakes, no clutch, and no changing gears. What we were encouraged to do was be gentle on the throttle, and we had to learn to do that first before we could learn anything else at each of these racing schools. You see, motorcycles don't crash by themselves. The most dangerous part on the motorcycle is the one nut connecting the handlebars to the seat. Whacking the throttle open, slamming it shut, or even making adjustments mid-corner causes your suspension and your tires to work overtime, and it doesn't help you avoid crashing. If you're gradual with your inputs, it makes the work on your motorcycle a lot easier, and it makes your motorcycle do exactly what you want it to do. Keeping your throttle inputs gradual in the dry and especially in the wet will go a long way in making you a better motorcycle rider. Now that we've understood throttle control, let's shift our attention over to braking. Just like your throttle inputs, your braking needs to be progressive too. The last thing you want to be doing is locking up your front or your rear tire when it's raining. Motorcycles with ABS are less likely to have their wheels locked up under braking, but that doesn't mean that grabbing a handful is a good idea. As important as it is to gradually pull on the brake levers, it's equally important to focus on where you're looking at when you're slowing down. And that brings us to our next point, vision. Vision on the racetrack and in the streets is very important. Whether you're speeding up or slowing down, you're going to be heading where you look. Pay close attention to and try to avoid any painted lines, potholes, sewage covers, oil and puddles. Probably one of the most repeated lines on my channel is about riding 2 car lengths ahead of you. If you're able to prepare early on, you can see a lot more and you can avoid a lot more brown pant moments. Avoid wearing tinted visors in the rain. Visibility is already poor, the last thing you want to be doing is helping out the Grim Reaper. If your visors allow for it, install a pin lock insert. What this does is it prevents your visor from fogging up and helps you see more clearly. While we're on that topic, there are also some products which help prevent the water droplets from sticking onto your helmet. It allows them to just glide off as you ride. I've linked some of them in the description of this video, you can check them out if you're interested. Now while we're on the topic of vision, let's also focus on visibility. Just like you, a lot of other motorists struggle with visibility during the rains. You can help them by making sure that your headlight, your tail light, and your indicators work, and more importantly, using them in the rain. This isn't a game of chess, and you can let them know what your next move is going to be. Wearing bright riding gear or rain gear which has reflective tape on it would also help make you more visible to other road users. You may be mistaken for a delivery boy when you reach a restaurant, but hey, you can pick up free food and go and eat it somewhere else. Now these tips should help you ride without a lot of problems in the rain, but keep in mind that very few people have been using public roads to drive or ride over the last 2 months, so it will take a while for everyone to get their driving senses back, however little that may be. My advice to you would be to hold off from a long drive or a long ride until you're confident that everyone else has started to drive and ride like they used to previously, without following any traffic rules, but being a little more aware, like the good old days. As always guys, at least wear your helmets while riding your motorcycles and stay safe. It's a freaking jungle out there. Goodbye.